Welcome back. It's the Watching the World Today on Channels Television. The United Nations Deputy Spokesperson Farhan Haq has announced there is no adequate proof to verify Ukraine was involved in Friday's Crocus City Hall attack in Moscow. He made this known at a press briefing at the United Nations headquarters in New York. It comes as the director of Russian Federal Security Service, Alexander Bortnikov, said the first data taken from the detained suspects after the attack clearly shows Ukrainian trace. The Russian Investigative Committee has opened a criminal case under Article 205 of the Criminal Code of the Russian Federation.
These are separate incidents, and so they need to be looked at separately. But his standpoint across the board is that actions don't just erupt out of nowhere. And ultimately, if we want to deal with problems, we have to look at what was underlying how those problems came about. That would be the case across the board, in Russia, in Israel, and everywhere.
So should ISIS grievances be taken into account going forward?
That's a bit of an oversimplification of what I just said.
I'm not analyzing, I'm asking.
No, I mean, what I said is all crises are the result of different factors. Ultimately, if you want to prevent problems from arising, you have to look at what contributes, whether it's socioeconomic factors on the ground, whether it's how people have been educated, how militants have come into their mindset. This is something we talk about in various different reports, including the reports we deal with that come out from our counterterrorism office.
For the United States Secretary of State Antony Blinken, the concert attack was an unfortunate reminder that the Islamic State group remains a real threat. He was expressing his thoughts at the White House with Iraqi Foreign Minister Fawad Hussein, who condemned the deadly attack that left at least 137 people dead and 182 others injured in Moscow.
Fortunately, we'd be reminded that ISIS remains a real threat. And despite the very good work that we've done over the years in dealing with that threat and mitigating it significantly, we're reminded by the horrific attack outside of Moscow just a few days ago that ISIS remains a potentially potent force and one that we have to continue to deal with. We mourn the loss of so many innocent lives, people going to a concert outside of Moscow. This is a very unfortunate reminder that we have to continue to deal with ISIS and make sure that it doesn't revive and regenerate.
As we suffered from ISIS and we fought ISIS, I condemn that attack. And this means that ISIS is still a threat for the peace in the Middle East, but also for security and peace somewhere else.
Following the attack at Crocus City Hall in Moscow, Nigeria's former Minister of Aviation, Femi Fani-Kayode, has led some top government officials, including former Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Professor Issa Pantami, on a condolence visit to the Russian embassy in Abuja. During the visit, the former aviation minister said Nigeria has suffered from similar issues in recent past and has come to commiserate with Russia on behalf of millions of Nigerians. He acknowledged the critical role Russia has played in the development of Nigeria, assuring them the country would not stand alone at this critical time. The Russian ambassador to Nigeria, Alexei Shebashin, while thanking the delegation for the visit, called for combined efforts to defeat terrorists.
As you can see, the people that came here today are not just ordinary people. These are people that of high caliber, and they represent millions of others. And we felt it was appropriate to come and express our solidarity with you. We believe strongly that those that were behind this, those we know already, that the Russian security services have so quickly brought to book and have caught. Outside of those ones that have been caught, we believe strongly that it is important, and we have every faith in your system, that you will get to the bottom of it and know those that were really behind it. So it's not just those that you see that you have to administer some kind of response to and bring to justice, but even those that were behind it, we need to identify them and we need to fight them, we need to oppose them, and in that quest, in that advocacy of that position, we stand with you 100%.
4 of them who were actually doing the firing were arrested near the Ukrainian border in Bryansk region. Mr. Putin personally leads the investigation. So far there is no conclusive information. When it comes, we will certainly let you know. But I'm more than sure that there will be no reprieve, no pardon given to these people who has killed 140 children including, and same figure, 140 are wounded, lying in hospitals. That is terrible.
Elsewhere, communal service workers have been cleaning up the streets of Brussels after farmers dumped manure and lit fires in front of government buildings. Hundreds of farmers brought out their tractors to protest against the European Union's agricultural policies, including the Green Deal and cheap imports from Ukraine. Tractor protests and blockades of major motorways have been taking place across Europe in recent months, involving thousands of farmers in Germany, France, Belgium, Spain, Italy, and Greece. Many have cited high production costs, taxes and fuel costs, as well as the bureaucracy and financial impact of EU green policies and cheap imports from countries such as Ukraine. A bloc lifted tariffs following the conflict with Russia, while many claim the influx from the non-EU country is having a devastating impact on the farming sector.